tearing down the walls that stand between freedom and tyranny, revealing who is behind the curtain, pushing the buttons and pulling the handles, sharing the truth one fact at a time. From behind enemy lines in FEMA Region 9, from the biggest little city in the world, this is The Views Expressed Live.
Get ready.
Hey, folks, this is the Free America Radio Network. This is The Views Expressed Live. I am your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce, for the 7th of August, 2014. How are ya? How are you doing? Anyone in the chat room, say hi. For more information, go to freeamericaradio.us. That's where you can get a lot of the news. Yes. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook as well. Check things out there. And, as I like to say, Free America Radio Network, sharing the truth, one fact at a time. But I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know everything. Some of the stuff I put up, I read, and I check it out, and I give it to you, and I may find something out later, and then I'll come back and revise all of that, and, you know. So, hey, you can do it too. You can go and check this stuff out yourself, and I'm pretty sure you can, you know. And I don't buy this crap, oh, you can't believe everything on the internet. Well, you can't believe everything on TV either. So why don't you just shut your big damn pie hole, do your own research, look at everything on your own, and decide for yourself whether you believe it or not. I got a message for people who seem to think that, I got a message for people who are too blind to see and too stupid to know it. And it literally is this. When you start criticizing me for what I believe and for what I know and for the information that I share, it comes down to this. I see it. I know it. I know it's true because I research it. I know what it is. And for me, that's good enough. And I keep digging and digging and digging until I can't dig anymore and either verify or, verify its honesty, its truthfulness, its factual base, or whether it doesn't have any of that. And I'm good with that. So if you want to criticize me for everything under the sun, number one, you have no right to do that unless you ask me about all the stuff that I've talked about and find out more about it. Then you'll have a better place to judge me for it. And number two, if you don't want or have that desire to seek knowledge and truth and facts, you gotta stay in your house and watch your stupid Honey Boo Boo and all of that. Okay? Because what I know is the truth, the facts is what I know it is as I see it. And it's really easy. 1 + 1 = 2. And if you can't do that, you're in sorry shape. Okay? Seriously. So anyway, I'm going to skip the obligatory break at the 5 after mark. And I'll go to break at the 20 after mark. How's that? And then again at the half-hour mark. But I got a lot to say, and I want to put it all in here in the first segment. Not all of it. I shouldn't say all of it. I want to put some of it in the first segment here. First of all, in Oregon, An Oregon man is serving prison sentence for collecting rainwater on his own property. That might be old news. Well, let's go check it out. From naturalnews.com, an Oregon landowner has been subjected to a 30-day prison sentence for what he says was a simple act of collecting rainwater on his own property. CNS News reports that Gary Harrington was convicted of 9 misdemeanors and sentenced to 30 days in prison, as well as slapped with a $1,500 fine for diverting snow runoff and rainwater into 3 reservoirs on his property, a move that local officials say violates an antiquated law governing personal water use. Let me interject this right here. It's his own property. The government doesn't own rain. And it's an antiquated law. Okay. Does anyone see a problem with that? Known as the Rain Man, Harrington reportedly built reservoirs which hold some 13 million gallons of water for his own personal use. One of the reservoirs he stocked with largemouth bass for leisure purposes. And when wildfires emerge in the area, he says the water from this and the other 2 reservoirs can be used for migratory purposes. In Harrington's mind, the operation is perfectly legal and a legitimate use of his own property. But the state of Oregon disagrees, claiming that Harrington is actually diverting water intended for the Big Butte Creek watershed and its tributaries, which are governed by nearby city of Medford, onto his own property. Some have even accused Harrington of hoarding natural resources that do not belong to him, insisting he should instead allow water that runs onto his property to flow into the city's water coffers for redistribution. Can you say on the side of the city, cha-ching? That's all it's about, people. He's using free water coming out of the sky in as snow or rain onto his property, which is diverted into his reservoirs on his property. And he's being charged a misdemeanor under antiquated laws. Can you see a problem here, folks? Quote, this is from Harrington, they issued me my permits, stated Harrington to CNS News about the legality of his water collection efforts. Quote, I had my permits in my hand and they retracted them just arbitrarily because they took them back Harrington says, I had my permits in my hand and they retracted them arbitrarily, basically. In other words, stole them. They took them back and said, no, you can't have them, so I've been fighting it ever since, unquote. Water collectors cite outdated 1920s law in a pursuit of Harrington. State water managers, however, have cited a 1925 law that provisions exclusive ownership of all, quote, core sources of water, unquote, by the city of Medford, not private landowners. They say Harrington's 3 water reservoirs are included under this provision and that water flowing through his property belongs to the state. Can you say communism? But Harrington insists that his water collection efforts are legal and that water stored on his property serves a primary purpose of dealing with frequent wildfires. Harrington also uses the water in his dwelling for non-potable purposes, similar to rain collection efforts that involve diverting water from roofs and other non-porous surfaces into barrels or storage tanks. Quote, I'm sacrificing my liberty so we can stand up as a country and stand for our liberty, unquote. Harrington announced before a small crowd gathered outside the Jackson County Jail prior to beginning his sentence. Harrington had previously been fighting the state after being issued a 3-year bench probation back in 2007. His probation mandated that Harrington close up his reservoirs and stop collecting water, which he shortly thereafter violated after reinstating the reservoirs. This says the state is impetus behind Harrington's booking and the reason why he was pursued so aggressively in this matter. Quote, Mr. Harrington has operated these 3 reservoirs in flagrant violation of Oregon law for more than a decade, unquote, stated Oregon Water Resource Department Deputy Director Tom Paul to the Medford Mail Tribune, as quoted by Mother Nature News. Quote, what we're after is compliance to Oregon water law, regardless of what the public thinks of Mr. Harrington, unquote. Or obviously what the state thinks of personal rights. According to CNS News, Harrington plans to fight this sentence tooth and nail and has vowed not to, quote, lay over and die, unquote. Doing so, he says, will allow the government bullies to become even bigger bullies, further threatening individual liberty in the state of Oregon. And there's sources there for the rest of that article. Here's my opinion of this. Oregon is in direct violation of our not only direct protection of civil rights, but the implied protection of our civil rights, period. So the state of Oregon and the city of Medford want to go with communist philosophy and say everything that person owns is now the state's under a antiquated law. Well, why don't you people in Oregon and Medford, as a matter of fact, my aunt lives in Turner, Oregon. My cousin lives in Salem or Portland. Excuse me. And why don't you people in Medford and people in Oregon stand up for your stinking rights? As a matter of fact, since there's a border convoy going on right now, starting out in Marietta, California, and going into Texas, why don't you people start gathering together yourselves, your friends, your family, your neighbors? And why don't you grab signs and go down to the Capitol building there, to your city hall, go downtown, take hundreds of people and protest these antiquated laws that are still on the books, that are in total violation of your own personal civil rights. Why don't you do that? Hey, Martin Luther King did it. He had hundreds of people behind him. He had white pastors behind him fighting for civil rights. And you folks in Medford are just going to sit there with your thumb up your butt saying, well, Mr. Harrington, that's what he deserves. Okay? That's a total violation of our civil rights. If I collect rainwater in my backyard, it's my water. It's coming out of the sky, which is free. If I go out on a very, on a winter day and pick up a whole bucket of snow and bring it in and use it as water in my, whatever I need, that's what I do. The snow, the water, the runoffs, all of that do not belong to the state, period. End of sentence. They belong to the people. And the people better get up off their ass and go fight for their civil rights, or else they're going to lose each and every single one of them. And this is just a small example of what the government's going to do. Little by little, pick away at everything until everything you think you own is now theirs and you work for the state. Okay? At least that's my perspective. What's yours? Free America Radio at USA.com. Free America Radio at USA.com. So let's all email Medford, the city of Medford, Oregon. Go ahead. Open up your email client, whatever you use, and email them. Let's flood their email servers with let's crash their whole system. Not only the city, let's go to the police station. Let's find their Medford police. Let's crash their email service. Let's go to the judges, crash their email services. Let's just crash everything until that city understands that the people are behind Mr. Harrington and not behind the communist takeover of Medford, Oregon. How's that? Think I'm a little miffed? ConservativePost.com, Texas medical staff warned, quote, keep your mouths shut about illegals, unquote, or face arrest. Yeah. Do you see where all of this is going? A government contracted security force, well, that doesn't sound good, threatened to arrest doctors and nurses if they divulged any information about the contagion threat at a refugee camp housing illegal alien children at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. Sources say. I've been there. I was in the Air Force. In spite of the threat, several former camp workers broke their confidentiality agreement and shared the details with Fox News and the dangerous conditions at the camp. They said taxpayers deserve to know about the contagious diseases and the risks the children pose to Americans. Fox News has agreed to not disclose their identities because they fear retaliation and prosecution. You can read this, all of it, on Free America Radio on Facebook. Okay. What say you? What does it take for you to wake up? What will it take? Will it? Oh, wait a minute. I know what it'll take. It'll take the proverbial rug being pulled out from underneath of you and you doing a face plant on the concrete. Oh, how will that manifest itself? Go to work one day. Let me put this hypothetical scenario before I go to break. You go to work one day, you're at work, your boss says, hey, you're doing a good job, but I got to tell you something. You're like, sure, go ahead. Yeah, because of what we do and because of your job and all this, we can't work you the 40 hours you want anymore. We got to break you down to, we got to pull you back to 32. Oh yeah, and we can't pay you what we paid you before. We have to cut your wage per hour. You'd be furious, wouldn't you? You'd come unglued. Okay? And then they look at you. Your boss would look at you and say, oh, and and every, quarter, every 3 months, every year, every 6 months, whatever it is, we buy you new boots for your job because, that's what we're supposed to do. But, because of the economy and because of what's happening with all the laws that are out there now, we can't do that. So they cut your pay. They don't give you the benefits. Your health coverage is that the company was paying for is now gone. You don't have that. And you have a family to support. You'd be really pissed, wouldn't you? Yeah, you know why? Because the federal government wants you on their dole. They want you to be a part of this social, this socialism is what it is. And now we have politicians in Washington, D.C. talking about nationalizing a lot of things. Talking about patriotism under the guise of national, we're nationalism. We're going to talk about nationalism and just try to get everybody together, but they wrap it around patriotism. Nationalism, socialism, can you say Nazis? I'll be back right after this. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce from the Free America Radio Network. Prepare yourself for the unexpected. Have an emergency food supply available when you need it. You never know when the next power outage or natural disaster will happen. Are you prepared when it does? Go to Free America Radio Network website and click on the Store tab and get your emergency food supply now. Go to freeamericaradio.us. A natural disaster could happen at any time. Be prepared. Go to freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab to get your emergency food supply today. That's freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab and prepare in case something happens. Listen to the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com.
Sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
This is the Free America Radio Network, and this is the Views Express live right here on the 7th of August, 2014. How y'all doing? Got a short segment here. I want to get into more of the headlines, more of the news, more of what's going on. Please go to Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. He's got some things there that, that would literally... Yeah, you think I'm angry? Yeah. Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker. Go check that out on Facebook. Every American should be aware of this Obamacare privacy issue, why the United We Stand Festival matters. There's a video there on Free America Radio on Facebook. Check that out. Also... I'm going to say this. I know a lot of people don't like Glenn Beck, and they think he's a shill. Well, let me tell you something. Unless you can prove everything that you're saying and, show the canceled checks, show the signed contracts with the federal government and all this, that, and the other thing. Unless you can prove your side of the argument, you're full of crap. Okay, you're just full of crap. You always have been, you always will be, because you're just full of crap. Okay. He argues, well, not really argues, I shouldn't say that. He reacts to a decision that a restaurant in Minnesota had made about a minimum wage fee. There's a video there on Free America Radio on Facebook. Also... from Glenn Beck as well. Glenn Beck talks about loyalty oaths. Didn't we get rid of those? We outlawed those a long time ago, didn't we? Loyalty oaths, didn't we? From Grassfire Nation on Facebook, they put up an article from libertynews.com. Breaking exclusive, Department of Homeland Security now resuming dumping of illegal aliens at McAllen bus station. That's in Texas. Also from the law that never was, the fraud of income and Social Security tax. So you might want to go check that out as well. I find it interesting in this regard. We have all these people out there who call themselves, reporters in so-called news, quote, organizations. And I find it odd, to be totally honest with you, how blatantly corrupt they are. And not so much corrupt as in, how they manage what they do, whatever, how their operations are, but corrupt in thought. Because if a real journalist actually did their job and investigated everything they reported on, we the people would know exactly what's coming out of Washington, D.C. The truth, the facts, all of that. But see, they don't, and I find it odd that these journalists, quote unquote, that are mouthpieces for the state-run media seem to enjoy spinning the information to their benefit. Oh, but if you catch them in the crosshairs and you call them to task on their reporting, they'll just spin it to the nth degree and justify anything they say with, whatever reasons they come up with. And there's nothing honest in the state-run media. Nothing at all. Oh, I don't care. You might say, well, they have to have some truth to put it. No, they don't. Let's put it this way. If you are one of the MSNBC propagandanoids that listen to that bullcrap coming off of MSNBC, and they came on and said that a UFO landed with green little aliens in it at the White House and spoke to Obama, what would you say? You'd say that was a bunch of crap, right? That never happened. But if you listen to MSNBC and you listen to Rachel Maddow spin all of her stories and tell you that they were all true when you know for a fact they weren't, or that her reporting on these issues is questionable, would you ever call her to task on it? No. Because they know how to, well, let's just say, manipulate the way you think. It's called neuro-linguistic programming. Go check it out. There is a way, I'm telling you now, there is a way to see through all of their bullcrap. There is a way to see through all of their, well, I'll put it this way. They open their mouth, they're lying. Bottom line, they're lying. They always have lied, they always will lie. There's nothing truthful about anything that they're saying. So, something to think about. As you know, somebody's going to come along and tell me, well, that's not true. Really? Really not true? Okay, show me why. I may not be from Missouri, but show me. Really want to know. I haven't had anybody come back to me that I said, prove your side of your argument. I've never had anybody come back to me and try and show me and prove to me why they say what they said. Why? Because they know I'm telling the truth. They know I got my stuff together, and they know they don't. So, hey, bottom of the hour, folks. I'll be back. Want to know what's happening all around us? You do? Great! Come check out the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. Have a nice trip. See you next fall. Attending their daughter's wedding in South Africa promised to be a vacation of a lifetime. But first, they had to face the treacherous gauntlet known as modern-day travel. Waiting for them on the other side of the world are an honest-to-goodness safari with amorous lions and elephants with anger issues, a life-affirming visit to a South African school, and an anxious bride and groom standing patiently at the airport with a sign that reads, "What took you so long?" The answers lie within the pages of Please Hold Thumbs, a not-so-round trip to South Africa, a true tale of turbulence and triumph from travel mug Scott Cherney, author of Red Asphalt. Available at Amazon.com in paperback and on the Kindle.
This is Michael Vera with Late Night in the Midlands, and you're listening to the Views Expressed live with your host, Reverend Wayne Pierce, on the Free America Radio Network.
What is reality? The foundation of reality is based on many concepts. Each person perceives reality differently. In the book, The Grid by Marie D. Jones and Larry Flaxman, they explore the hidden infrastructure of reality. Get your copy today at Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com. The Grid by Marie D. Jones and Larry Flaxman.
Sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
Hey, how y'all doing? Welcome back. This is the Free America Radio Network. You can go to freeamericaradio.us, freeamericaradio.us for more information. And in the Spreaker chat, we have the one and only J.R. Wild. Go check out his show, J.R. Wild, right here on Spreaker.com. Check it out. So, awesome. What are we doing? What are we doing, folks? We see the mess this, whole system has gotten us into. We see this whole grand charade that they call the presidency. And what are we doing? I mean, seriously, what are we doing? Okay? I find it odd, and before I read this next article, I find it incredibly odd. It's just odd. You know how a dog hears a strange sound and tilts his head? I look at the Obama administration and go, WTF. Okay, I just find it odd that we have people who actually voted for this guy a second time around. Okay? Nails on a chalkboard, folks. Okay? What the hell were you people thinking? Seriously. Oh. And how's this for security of the United States of America? The Washington Times report, as soon as the page decides it wants to come up, I love it. This is great. There it is. It finally came up. The WashingtonTimes.com. Russian bombers penetrated U.S. airspace at least 16 times in the past 10 days. Russian strategic nuclear bombers conducted at least 16 incursions into northwest U.S. air defense identification zones over the past 10 days, an unusual sharp increase in aerial penetration, according to U.S. defense officials. The numerous flight encounters by Tu-95 Russian Bear H bombers prompted the scrambling of U.S. jet fighters on several occasions and come amid heightened U.S.-Russia tensions over Ukraine. Also, during one bomber incursion near Alaska, a Russian intelligence gathering jet was detected along with the bombers. Yeah. Isn't that wonderful? Freebeacon.com has the rest of the story. So I'm going to put the Free Beacon article up on Free America Radio on Facebook. And what do you make of that? Seriously. What do you make of that? I'm going to say, don't underestimate Russian President Vladimir Putin. Don't. He's a freaking commie, okay? I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'd like to meet the guy. I really would. I'd like to sit down with him and talk with him. I don't like his politics. I don't like communism. It sucks. It's wrong. It's bad. But I'd like to talk to him. You know, just say, hey, Vladimir, how's it going? Is it good? Good. Can you, do me a favor? Can you not fly your damn planes over the U.S. because it kind of freaks out people? You know, can you just stop for a moment? You know, I'd just like to talk to him. I really would. I like to put him and Obama in the same room and look at both of them going, okay, asshats, listen up. We're all human beings here. We're just different colors and different nationalities. Not to wear out the old cliche, but can we all get along? Can you stop the bull crap and just, hey, do what we have to survive? What else? Well, how's this for censorship? From my Fox NY, my Fox New York, myfoxny.com. China tightens grip on instant messaging services. China's government tightened control over popular instant messaging services Thursday by telling South Korea that access to some foreign services was blocked because they were used to exchange terrorism-related information. The government announced that only established media companies will be allowed to release political and social news. That would curtail the growing use of instant messaging services by journalists and scholars to distribute independent news reports and commentary. The ruling Communist Party has repeatedly tightened controls over microblogs and other social media that give Chinese a rare platform to express themselves to a large audience in a country where all traditional media are state-controlled. China informed South Korea it has blocked access to two mobile messaging services, Keiko Talk and Line, which said were used to exchange terrorism-related information, according to South Korean officials who asked not to be named because he was not authorized to speak on the matter. China's government is on the edge about security following a series of deadly attacks that authorities blame on Islamic radicals seeking independence for the country's northwestern region of Xinjiang. Beijing says it has confirmed terrorism-related information circulating through Keiko Talk and Line, the South Korean official said. It was not clear how Beijing had access to messages between users of the two services, which are private and seen only by the participants. Yeah, take a wild guess, folks, of how they figured that one out. Put this one up on Free America Radio on Facebook so you can read the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey says. So, yeah. Yay. How can I put this? How can a person literally, how can a person, you're out there, you're listening to me, you are grasping all of this, not quite understanding the depth of it all, but you understand the basics. So how can a person literally behave as if nothing is wrong? How can they look at places like China and Russians and North Korea and Iraq or Iran, for that matter, or Saudi Arabia or England or Denmark, or how can any one person look at even Canada, the U.S., and Mexico and think that everything is okay? How can they? We've got fluoride in the water, we got chemtrails in the air, and don't tell me that's not there. Trust me, go out and look. I challenge each and every single person out there listening to the sound of my voice to commission a local lab to test your water coming out of your faucet. By the way, you just take them a cup of water and there you go. Or, hey, how about this? Do it for free. Go to your sporting goods store or a place that sells swimming pool accessories, such as the chemicals that go in there and all the test strips and all that. You can do it yourself. I want to know all of that. I want to know what you do, so please, if you do that, or if you have an article about that, or if you have a website or a blog that you write, send that information to me and I'll post it on the website at freeamericaradio.us. Email it to me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. That would be freeamericaradio@usa.com. The state-run media is never going to tell you what's going on, are they? All right. Not. Now, I want to ask a question in regards to what I was talking about just a second ago about why do people behave as if nothing's wrong. So I'm going to ask this question. If a person realizes that something is wrong in their neighborhood, here's my question. What is their obligation and duty to that neighborhood? You live there. You know most of the people. What is your obligation and duty? Okay? There are certain elements in this country that don't want you to get behind the they don't want you as the camel to get your nose under the tent to see what is going on. They want you to be the nice little camel and do your work. But see, this segues into my other subject, and that is this Ebola outbreak. By the way, we can take care of it. But, again, why do people behave as if nothing is wrong? CDC activates highest level emergency operations center for Ebola outbreak. That's on Yahoo News. The head of the CDC tells U.S. Congress the agency has activated the agency's emergency operations center to deal with the Ebola outbreak. Okay? Why do people believe or behave as if nothing is wrong? Seriously. Why? I don't get it, to be totally honest with you. I just do not get it. Okay? I don't. It's just, I don't. Okay? I don't understand how this whole system, or excuse me, let me rephrase this. I don't know how people can examine this whole system and not see the cracks and not see the problems and not understand what is going on. I don't get it. Someone want to try to explain it to me? Because I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I'm standing there seeing all the cracks and seeing all the problems and seeing, but somebody may be standing next to me going, oh, that's no problem. I don't see a problem. I don't. You know? So what's the solution? I mean, I can talk all day about, oh, wow, there's a problem, yada, yada, yada. But where is the solution? Let's go to the liberal side of things, shall we? Such as the Huffington Post. Bombs away. New York Times backs off report. Pentagon denies. Jets explosions heard. Whose planes? Okay. Report. Airdrops underway. ISIS, or the Islamic State, takes Iraq's biggest dam. Could unleash 65-foot wall of water on Mosul, seizes country's largest Christian town, thousands flee in horror, trapped in mountains, humanitarian disaster, children dying of thirst, White House, quote, no American military solution, unquote. Really? Really? Seriously? Seriously? Really? Huh. Weird. No military solution. No American military solution. No American military... excuse me. People are dying. Humanity over there is dying. And there's no American military solution to stop these freaking people from tearing up the place? These ISIS, or the Islamic State as they're known, are like freaking kids in a candy store. They're going to run around stealing everything. They're going to knock over shelves, and the parents are just going to be standing by going, well, that's just the way they are. Kids are kids. We have to rein in these jackasses. Okay? They take one step into my neighborhood. Yeah, I think the county's going to have to order up a whole bunch of body bags. Because they're terrorists. Do you understand me? Terrorists. Oh, don't get me started on the American terrorists that are here called street gangs. People are dying over there, and Huffington Post is saying no. White House says no American military solution. Really? Really? I'm bringing the page up, folks, and I know it's going to start a stupid video right when I get it up here. Oh, nope, didn't. Wow, that's a switch. No American military solution to the problems in Iraq. White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest would not confirm a Thursday report by the New York Times that the United States is weighing military strikes in Iraq. Quote, "There are no American military solutions to the problems in Iraq," unquote, Ernst said during a press briefing. Quote, "These problems can only be solved with Iraqi political solutions," unquote. They just threw Iraq under the bus. According to the Times report, the administration is considering using airstrikes as well as airdrops of medicine and food to assist the 40,000 religious minorities trapped on Mount Sinjar in Iraq. President Barack Obama huddled with his national security team Thursday morning to discuss the crisis stemming from the Sunni extremist group's gains in Iraq's north. Furthering their gains, the militant seized Iraq's largest dam Thursday, placing them in control of enormous power and water resources and access to the river that runs through the heart of Baghdad. Don't we have military in Baghdad? I'm just curious. While the White House did not publicly outline the range of options under the consideration, officials said the U.S. strongly condemns the extremist assault on minorities, including the Yazidis, I don't know how to pronounce that, who follow an ancient religion with ties to Zoroastrianism and Christians. Quote, "The situation is nearing a humanitarian catastrophe," unquote, White House spokesman Josh Earnest said. Quote, "We are gravely concerned for their health and safety," unquote. Among the most pressing concerns is the plight of the Yazidis, I think, who fled the Kurdish town of Sinjar in recent days. Thousands fled their homes for the mountains after the Islamic State group issued an ultimatum to convert to Islam, pay a religious fine, flee their homes, or face death. That right there is a declaration of war. Either pay us off, or convert to our religion, and if you don't, pay us off, and if you don't do that, we will kill you. That is a declaration of war. Period. If Obama were to approve a humanitarian assistance to the Yazidis and others, it could be delivered via airdrops by the United States military. The military could also advise and assist the Iraqi Air Force on where and how to deliver humanitarian relief supplies. The people familiar with the administration's thinking insisted on anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the matter by name. Let me go back here. The military could also advise and assist. Where have we heard that before? Where have we heard that before? In another form, at another time in our history, let me think now. Can you say Vietnam, 1964, the Gulf of Tonkin incident that caused all sorts of uprisings? Or, well, people got pissed off, and then CBS News went to the, to the ship docks in San Diego and talked to the ship that was supposedly hit by enemy attack, and personnel were getting off the ship going, what? That never happened. And that got us into Vietnam. And our advisors, quote unquote, were there to assist in negotiating a peace treaty. No. Is it coincidence, folks, that in 1957, the French advisors went over to South Vietnam and were talking and were, trying to negotiate, and then we got involved somehow. I don't know how we got involved in that. And isn't it coincidental that President Kennedy, who not only wanted to take us off the Federal Reserve note and in the IRS, but isn't it a coincidence that he said that we were going to pull troops out of South Vietnam, bring most of them home, so we wouldn't have that many over there. And wasn't it coincidence that in November 22nd, 1963, he was murdered? Yes, murdered. And isn't it a coincidence that the war escalated over there with hundreds of thousands of military troops being sent by President Johnson? Wow. President Johnson made millions of dollars on the military contracts for the companies he invested in prior to being vice president. Interesting. Who's making money now? Huh? By the way, former President Dick Cheney is making billions of dollars off of his military contracts. So is Chertoff still making money off of those naked body scanners in the airports. Let's see, is it a coincidence, cha-ching, that people are making money off of this war? It has nothing to do with peace, folks. Nothing at all. Okay? Absolutely nothing at all. The more that you engage in something for your personal or financial benefit, the more you want to continue it. That's basic, isn't it? So who benefits personally and financially from this conflict going on with the Palestinians and the Israelis? Who benefits from these little skirmishes that we're having, that we have our military involved with in Afghanistan or Iraq? Who benefits from that? And is it a coincidence, or is it done by design? That these things are happening, and in the meantime, the United States of America, where you and I live and have our freedoms, are systematically being, our freedoms, our rights, our Constitution is being systematically torn apart. And we are slowly going into this idea of nationalism guised as patriotism. And the process by which that is happening and the fundamental philosophy of that ends in socialism. Is it a coincidence that all of that happened to this point, the 7th of August, 2014, to have people stand up and declare whatever side they're on, but declare that they're patriots? That we have to do it for the children. Oh, you got the border crisis, and well, yeah, let's bring your children in and let's help them. I'm okay with helping people who are sick and then packing their asses up and sending them home. But analysts have said you can't do that because their homes are, Central America and Honduras and Guatemala and El Salvador are the most corrupted and destroyed countries in Central America. So you can't send them home. So where are you going to send them? Mexico's a good place, don't you think? But we got to take care of them. My point is this, folks. It's no coincidence. All of it was planned. All of it planned by design. All of it was implemented to do one thing and one thing only. Total and absolute collapse of the United States of America. Suspend the Constitution by implementing martial law and destroying every single fabric of sovereignty that we have in this country. That is the goal of these National Socialists we have in Washington, D.C. National Socialist. What else? What could that be called? National Socialist. Can you say Nazis? They're tearing this country up, folks. They're tearing it up for their own greedy personal and financial benefit. Divide and conquer. Who benefits? Certainly not us. FreeAmericaRadio.us. Free America Radio at USA.com. That's Free America Radio at USA.com.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Waking up the masses. Truth, knowledge, and wisdom for your consumption. Waking up the masses. News and views concerning the New World Order. Waking up the masses. Join Bob Brutus as he pulls back the curtain on the esoteric agenda which has been in play for a millennia. Waking up the masses. WakingUpTheMasses.com.
Joining us today on RadioKahuna.com. We so appreciate having you in. This is Steve from Clarinormal Talk Radio. I'm also here, one of the personalities on Radio Kahuna. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy having you people in. Thank you so very much. Hey, we're growing all over the planet by leaps and bounds. People from all over the planet are coming in and listening. But there's not enough. It's not enough. We need more. We're asking for your help. Tell a friend. Tell 2 friends. Tell 10 friends. Just tell them this. Tell them they'll get laid. Come on in. Enjoy the surf. The sets are fine. Steve from Clarinormal Talk Radio and Radio Kahuna. Thank you very much.
Dreams that you dream of.
Eastland Radio Repertory Theater is looking for you. Are you a voice actor? Do you want to hone your abilities? Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com. We are currently looking for voice actors to fill certain character roles in an ongoing radio play in development. Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com.
Lock it on to the best station on the net.
For all you independent artists, musicians, and filmmakers, there is a place for you. Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. Go to RadioRockTheBlitz.blogspot.com. Whatever the subject you can think of, we talk about it. Come join Diana and Wayne as we discuss whatever it is that is happening in our lives.
Come and listen to Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Check it out on Spreaker.com.
You're listening to the views expressed live on Waking Up the Masses Radio Network.
Hey folks, no you're not. I just heard that, by the way. It just came back to the mic and I heard that. You can go check out Bob Brutus with Waking Up the Masses. Yeah, WakingUpTheMasses.com. Go check that out. This is The Views Expressed live right here for the 7th of August 2014 on the Free America Radio Network. Hope you guys are having a good, what is this, Thursday now? Holy crap, man. It's just a week ago that I had, it's just a week ago that I went on vacation. Actually, I was on a 2-week vacation. And I'm glad I'm back because I'm refreshed, taking a vacation, taking time off, it really helps. Refocus, regroup, get your mind back in the game. You know what I mean? Just, refreshing. Yes. I don't get angry much, but sometimes you hear some of my podcasts and you hear how pissed off I am. But I'm not going to get angry about this, but I will say that, I believe that your children are important to you. At least I hope they are. And I believe that every parent should understand one vital thing. Moms, they came out of you. And when you hold them in your arms when they're tiny, tiny, tiny babies, the Constitution does protect them. Not when you say they're 18. No. When your baby is birthed upon the world, the Constitution of the United States of America covers everything they do. Okay? So, if you send them to school, which of course some are, if you look at the statistics now, you'll see that some parents are pulling their kids out of school and homeschooling them. And that's going up, by the way. But in Infowars.com reports on an article from Washington County, Maryland. School district prepares to track students' social media activity. Quote, I know there are some who worry about the intrusiveness of this, unquote. School officials in Washington County, Maryland, announced this week that their students' social media accounts will be monitored once the new school year begins. Using a software program known as Social Sentinel, specific faculty members will be alerted when keywords such as bomb and kill are detected. Quote, critical information that can enhance your ability to identify risks, assess threats, and manage events is being shared publicly right now, unquote. The Social Sentinel site reads, quote, with the Social Sentinel service, K-12 safety and security personnel can gather, assess, and manage information publicly available on social media sites to identify threats made against a person, group of people, or specific school or venue, unquote. So far, the software is programmed to monitor social media sites such as Vimeo, Google+, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Flickr, Tumblr, Instagram, and Meetup. Quote, threats will be flushed out, unquote, officials told WJLA News. Once a keyword is detected, the post and any other associated comments will be checked for mentions of violence, harassment, bullying, weapons, or drugs and alcohol use. Quote, if the algorithm catches a phrase or a word, then it will automatically generate a text or an email, unquote. District Superintendent Clayton Wilcox said, quote, that email or text will go either to the principal or to our director of school security, or perhaps both. Posts believed to be violent in nature will be sent to local police, while posts regarding harassment and bullying will be handled by the faculty. Washington County, only one of 4 school districts nationwide to use the $20,000 per year program, argues that the software does not violate privacy rights since it only monitors students who post to social media on school property. Quote, I know there are some who worry about the intrusiveness of this, unquote, Wilcox said. Quote, I would simply say to each and every one of you, we are not interested in people's social lives, unquote. Wilcox went on to mention that the perimeter of the software could expand outside of the school property to monitor possible quote-unquote gang activity and quote-unquote fights off campus. Really? The software is yet another example of surveillance technology bleeding over into the educational system. Just last year, a group of engineers in New York announced the creation of a biometric classroom monitoring program that tracks students' eye movements, conversations, and smiles. Using, quote, engage sense, unquote, cameras, algorithms in the program will analyze the visual and audio data to give teachers detailed information on every move a student makes. Similarly, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation began funding the development of biometric bracelets in 2012 for school students. The quote-unquote engagement pedometers, unquote, send electrical currents across the skin to measure a student's response to different stimuli throughout the school day. Students attempting to rally support against such monitoring have been severely punished for doing so. A high school student in Texas was suspended in 2012 for refusing to wear an RFID-enabled ID badge that tracked her movements throughout her school. I'm going to put that one up on the Free America Radio Network, Free America Radio Facebook page. And you can read that for yourself. Also from Infowars.com, as soon as I go back to the front page. There was a video that was very, very interesting. Very interesting. Okay? Give me a second while I upload this. But it was very interesting. Oh, by the way, just FYI, if you hear the sound skipping or stalling or something, let me know. I've been having some problems with it. I'm going to ask you a question. We got a Constitution and a Bill of Rights, do we not? Do we not? We have that, right? Okay, this is what we have. My question is, and it's real simple, but my question is this. My question is very, very simple. We have a Constitution and a Bill of Rights. We have a document written and ratified December 15, 1791 that protects all of our God-given rights. Am I correct in that? Here's my question. Why do most law enforcement now violate that? Is it because they think it's a game to beat the crap out of people because they don't do what we tell them to do? Well, isn't that just a lovely sight? Let me read you the article, and then let me play you the audio. Infowars.com, quote unquote, we don't follow the Constitution, cop resigns after outrage. Police director labels officers' comments as an embarrassment. New Jersey police officer who caused outrage after being caught on video claiming he didn't have to follow the Constitution because Obama, quote unquote, decimated the Bill of Rights has resigned. As we reported yesterday in a story that was linked on the Drudge Report before going viral, Helmeta police officer Richard Racine responded to resident Steve Ronco's complaint about a corruption at the local animal shelter and violations of his First and Fourth Amendment rights by remarking, quote, Obama just decimated the freaking Constitution, so I don't give a damn. If he doesn't follow the Constitution, we don't have to, unquote. I'm going to put this article up on the Free America Radio Facebook page for you to take a look at. But let me play you the audio. Now, of course, this cop resigned. He quit. He's just embarrassed, and so he quit. So let me play you the audio, okay? So that way you know what this guy is saying, all right? It's 1.5 minutes long. So sit back and relax and see why this cop resigned completely out of embarrassment.
I have major objections of what's going on over at the shelter there. My First and Fourth Amendment rights were violated. My civil rights were violated.
Well, have I heard that? Because Obama has decimated the friggin' Constitution. So I don't give a damn, because if he doesn't follow the Constitution, we don't have to.
It's New Jersey case law. Yes, you don't have. Did you get that?
Yeah. Did you
he doesn't have to follow the Constitution.
Because our president.
Can you say that one more time? I'm not sure I heard it clearly.
Obama has decimated the friggin' Constitution. So I don't give a damn, because if he doesn't follow the Constitution, we don't have to.
It's New Jersey case law. Yeah.
Just tell me that one more time so I completely understand what you just said.
Obama has decimated the friggin' Constitution. So I don't give a damn, because if he doesn't follow the Constitution, we don't have to.
It's New Jersey.
You know, you're aware of your rights and everything like that. So, just talking about the property.
This is public property. This is owned by the municipality.
Okay, and there's something called defiant trespassing.
On public property?
You're going into the building.
That's public property.
Okay, you heard that, all right? You heard that yourself. That New Jersey cop has resigned because of that comment that he made. I don't know, folks. I mean, I'm stupid. That was very, very stupid. When you look at how these police are trained, and usually they're trained in pretty much military fashion, you can tell what they're indoctrinated with. Well, this guy, I would say, is halfway correct. This cop is halfway, partly correct in what he says. And that is, yeah, Obama decimated the freaking Constitution. Where he's wrong is the fact that he's wearing a uniform, and no matter whether or not the president decimated it, he still has to abide by constitutional law as a peace or police or a law enforcement officer. That's his duty. For him to speak, that's his First Amendment right, even in uniform. But I think his boss looked at him and just said, you know what? Yeah, you embarrassed us. And it would be better if you just leave. You know? So, he's probably not the only one. But he's one that got caught on video. Okay? And what really has me up in arms is the fact that police seem to think, and I could be wrong in this, police seem to think that they're a law unto themselves, that they are the Judge Dredd of law enforcement, judge, jury, and executioner of all laws. And, well, they're not. Okay? So how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? Well, I don't like it either, and I'm glad that guy resigned. I don't know if he resigned because he did something that embarrassed the rest of the officers in his department, or the New Jersey police office itself, where he's from, or whether or not he just went enough and walked away from law enforcement altogether. I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be some follow-up. But what do you think? Tell me what you think. I want to know. Please email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. And I will be back in just a couple of minutes.
Sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
You're listening to The Views Expressed right here on the Free America Radio Network. The world as we know it is changing. We must speak out against the tyranny in our country. Stand up. Speak out. Get involved. Live Truth Radio. The reality underneath the honesty. LiveTruthRadio.com. The Wayne S. Pierce Show on the Free America Radio Network. Go to thewaynespearceshow.weebly.com for more information. And catch the Wayne S. Pierce Show Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 12 noon Pacific, 3 Eastern on the Free America Radio Network.
It's time to take our republic back, folks. Brian Bonner, the uncooperative radio show host, will tell you how. Join us for the ride of your life. Using humor and the facts, we will expose the news that the lamestream media refuses to report. The Constitution is the solution, and we can prove it. Listen in and find out what it means to be an uncooperative citizen of these United States. You can find our show at uncooperativerradio.com, and we are rebroadcast on redstatetalkradio.com.
Sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
Tearing down the walls that stand between freedom and tyranny, revealing who is behind the curtain, pushing the buttons and pulling the handles, sharing the truth one fact at a time. From behind enemy lines in FEMA Region 9, from the biggest little city in the world, this is The Views Expressed Live.
Get ready.
Hey, folks, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Welcome back. This short segment here. How do we control what's going on? How do we step up to the plate and play this game to win? It's a very good question, isn't it? It's a very good question due to the fact that we can win it. Okay? If 3% of the population of the new colonies back in 1775 could beat the crap out of the British Empire Army and secure freedom for this nation, what makes you think we can't do it? What's 3% of 300 million people? 10% is, what, 300,000? 3% is 90. I don't know what it is. What is it? Now, we have to do one thing that's very important. We have to decide and get that gut check and check our reality as well and ask ourselves, are we ready, willing, and able to stand up and defend this nation against enemies foreign and domestic? And it seems like there's a lot of people who, well, I'll just say what they are. Whiny, wimpy-ass little bitches. They'll just stand behind a tree and piss themselves and say, oh my God, there are people shooting at me. Oh, there's people shooting at me and I don't like it. Oh, no. Well, don't feel alone, you little wimpy-ass, whiny little bitch. Because in the Civil War, there were probably a good portion, well, I shouldn't say a good portion, there was probably a number of people who just threw down their weapons and ran home to mama. Okay? A lot of people deserted. A lot of people left. A lot of people went AWOL. And you know what? The ones that were caught were shot for treason. For desertion, I should say. Well, treason, yeah. That is why later on in years they put this little clause within your recruitment into the military that says, are you a conscientious objector? Which means, are you willing to fight? Are you not willing to fight, I should say? Are you a conscientious objector? They now have that, okay? And they have that. All right? I remember being asked that question. When I was in. Are you a conscientious objector? I said no. And it basically is this: a refusal on moral or religious grounds to bear arms in a military conflict or to serve in the armed forces. Word origin and history. Conscientious objector, 1899, with reference to British government in India and religious scruples about mandatory vaccination. Military sense predominated from World War I. Cultural Dictionary says conscientious objector, or a CO, is a person who refuses to render military service on the grounds of moral principle or religious belief. A CO must demonstrate a sincere, active, and long-standing objection in order to receive an exemption from armed services. The United States and some European countries officially recognize CO status. Approved COs are usually required to perform social service and non-combat military service in place of armed duty. In other words, you can still be in the military, but not on the front lines. Okay? They accommodate for that. See, when I was in, they would accommodate for that as well, because I found out later on they would. But they were a little stricter on certain other things. See? Conscientious objector. I do not fight wars due to my religious belief. I do not fight wars due to the fact that it's not, this is the scenario that some people have put forth as conscientious objectors. These are the reasons, I should say, that these people put forth as being conscientious objectors. Me, hey, if there's a battle going on, I'm ready, willing, and able to, support other people in the defense of my nation. Okay? I mean, that's just the way it is. This is my home just as much as it is yours, and therefore we can get together and defend it. So, anyway, I mean, think about that, folks, just for a minute. Think about that, okay? I'll be back right after this bottom of the hour break. If you're into liberty and libertarian values, tune in to The Angel Clark Show, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, at radiofreedom.us.
No elitist drivel, no media spin. Logic over emotion, fact over fiction. The home of independent conservative thought. The Conservative Voice with your host, Jeff Wagner, only on the Conservative Radio Network.
Around the planet on the World Wide Web.
The storm is on the horizon. The system of government that we currently have in this country is collapsing. We are on the brink of total disaster as a nation, a people, and a planet. Who or what can save us? Listen to The Views Expressed live, Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific, at freeamericaradio.us. What is reality? The foundation of reality is based on many concepts. Each person perceives reality differently. In the book, The Grid by Marie D. Jones and Larry Flaxman, they explore the hidden infrastructure of reality. Get your copy today at Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com. The Grid by Marie D. Jones and Larry Flaxman. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce from the Free America Radio Network. Prepare yourself for the unexpected. Have an emergency food supply available when you need it. You never know when the next power outage or natural disaster will happen. Are you prepared when it does? Go to Free America Radio Network website and click on the Store tab and get your emergency food supply now. Go to freeamericaradio.us. A natural disaster could happen at any time. Be prepared. Go to freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab to get your emergency food supply today. That's freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab and prepare in case something happens. Listen to the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. Tearing down the walls that stand between freedom and tyranny, revealing who is behind the curtain, pushing the buttons and pulling the handles, sharing the truth one fact at a time, broadcasting from behind enemy lines, from the biggest little city in the world. This is The Views Expressed Live. Hey, folks, welcome back. Welcome back to 7th of August, 2014. This is the Free America Radio Network. This is The Views Expressed live. FreeAmericaRadio.us is the website. FreeAmericaRadio@USA.com is the email address. Thank you for joining me today. Appreciate that very much. We have one last long segment till the end of the show. So let's get right to it. Shall we? Yes. Free America Radio at USA.com. How y'all doing today? You good? Awesome. It's Thursday, one day before. One day before the Friday and the weekend and all of that. Anyway. Islamic State surges in North Iraq near Kurdistan border. That's from Reuters.com. Isabel Coles over there. Thank you, Isabel. Islamic militants surged across northern Iraq toward the capital of the Kurdish region on Thursday, sending tens of thousands of Christians fleeing for their lives in an offense that prompted talk of Western military action. Reuters photographs show what appeared to be Islamic State fighters controlling a checkpoint at the border near the Kurdish semi-autonomous region, little over 30 minutes drive from Arbil, a city of 1.5 million that is headquarters of Kurdish regional government and many businesses. The fighters had raised the movement's black flag over the guard post. However, a Kurdish security officer denied that the militants were in control of the Khazar checkpoint, and the regional government said its forces were advancing and would defeat the terrorists, urging people to stay calm. In Washington, a senior official said the Obama administration had approved military airdrops of humanitarian supplies to help trapped religious minorities in Iraq, and they could start at any time. U.S. officials confirming a New York Times report said President Barack Obama was also weighing carrying out the first U.S. strikes in Iraq since 2011 pullout of troops. White House spokesman Josh Earnest said any U.S. military action would be, quote, very limited in scope, unquote, and tied to Iraqi political reforms, adding, quote, there are no military solutions to the problems in Iraq, unquote. News reports that the United States has struck targets in Iraq are not accurate, a Pentagon spokesman said on Thursday as Islamist militants advanced across northern Iraq. Quote, press reports that U.S. has conducted airstrikes in Iraq completely false, unquote, Rear Admiral John Kirby said in a post on his Twitter feed, quote, no such action taken, unquote. Why is he going to Twitter to say this? Sunni militants captured Iraq's biggest Christian town, Khorasan, prompting many residents to flee, fearing they would be subjected to the same demands the Sunni militants made in other captured areas: leave, convert to Islam, or face death. The Islamic State, considered more extreme than al-Qaeda, sees Iraq's majority Shiites and minorities such as Christians and Yazidis, a Kurdish ethno-religious community, as infidels. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said he was, quote, deeply appalled, unquote, by reports of attacks by Islamic State militants in Iraq and called on the international community to help the country's government. I'm going to put this up on the Free America Radio Facebook page for all you to read. There's more to that article, so please check it out yourself there on Free America Radio on Facebook. There is, and I say this for the sake of this next explanation, there is a complete and utter disconnect when it comes to our understanding of what is happening over in the Iraq-Iran situation, the Israeli-Palestinian situation going on. And the reason why we lack the understanding of it is because we have a state-run media that is not telling us the truth, nor investigating it as they should. Follow the money, connect the dots. And so we sit here wondering why there's no military force going over there beating the crap out of these people. It is already on record that some of these terrorist organizations such as Hamas and some people would say Israeli military is, and there's terrorists there as well. It is on record that shows that there's these military, I don't even want to call them military, they're just terrorists. They have these rocket launchers and other things within communities in civilian areas, and they know that we and our allies cannot go over there and bomb the crap out of them, or else we'd be killing millions of innocent people. This is their strategy. Do you know why they hide behind the civilians? They're freaking cowards, and they know it. They know it. If they had the balls to carry out all of these terrorist activities, they just come right out in the open and do what they do. But then again, they're smart enough not to, because we would kill them. No, literally. We would blow them into smithereens. But see, we can't go into these communities with innocent civilians and start shooting up the place to try to kill these terrorists. That would piss off the international community. And there's really, nothing that we can do. And the president is thinking about sending in military? Excuse me, no. No. But I think our technology is a lot better than that. What do you think? Reuters.com, Obama signs bill to fix delays in veterans' benefits. Yeah, and he's sending billions over to Africa. Hello. Rebecca Elliott wrote this. Thank you, Rebecca. Reuters. U.S. President Barack Obama signed a $16.3 billion bill on Thursday designed to provide veterans with more timely medical care and fix problems in the scandal-plagued Veterans Affairs Department. The plan passed Congress last week and aims to address what Obama on Thursday called outrageous misconduct at the VA hospitals and clinics that included modifying records of delayed care. Quote, the bill covers a lot of ground, from expanding survivor benefits and educational opportunities to improving care for veterans struggling with traumatic brain injury and for victims of sexual assault, unquote. Obama said at Fort Belvoir, I don't know how to pronounce that, in Virginia, speaking to an audience of service members, veterans, and their families. The VA was thrust into the spotlight this spring after allegations surfaced that it had covered up the months-long waiting list or waiting times some veterans had to endure before receiving medical care. Former head of Veterans Affairs Eric Shinseki resigned in late May as the scandal mounted, and last week the Senate unanimously confirmed former Procter & Gamble Company Chief Executive Officer Robert McDonald. What? A former Procter & Gamble company Chief Executive Officer? Huh? Does he have military experience? Quote, as a new generation of veterans returns home from war and transitions into civilian life, we have to make sure the VA system can keep pace with that new demand, unquote, Obama said. He said there was a new, quote-unquote, culture of accountability at the VA and that disciplinary proceedings to address the cover-up were underway. Quote, we've held people accountable for misconduct. Some have already been relieved of their duties and investigations are ongoing, unquote, Obama said. The law sets aside $10 billion for veterans to see private doctors if the wait time for an appointment at a VA facility exceeds 30 days, or the nearest facility is located more than 40 miles or 64 kilometers away. Why did they put 64 kilometers? Interesting. The package also provides funds for the department to hire additional doctors and nurses, as well as open 27 new medical clinics. Excuse me. But, quote, but I want to be clear about something. This will not and cannot be the end of our effort, unquote. added Obama, who has suffered a political fallout over the scandal after his repeated promises to put a priority on the needs of the veterans as he wound down wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Before signing the bill, Obama briefly addressed the death of Major General Harold Green, who was killed on Tuesday in Afghanistan, and reasserted his commitment to caring for service members in the quote-unquote 9/11 generation. Quote, whether or not this country properly repays their heroism, properly repays their patriotism, their service, their sacrifice, that's in our hands, unquote. Now, let me direct your attention to some history. Shall I? We had history. Yes, history is repeating itself, folks. I remember listening to the speeches and looking at the subtitles of one Adolf Hitler. I saw what he said. I listened to and saw the subtitles of Mussolini. I saw and read the subtitles of Khrushchev. And some documentaries that have subtitles. They all, quote-unquote, preached nationalism. They all said that their war veterans were important to them and that the country had to help them. So they rallied the country to help their veterans. Adolf Hitler, being a World War I veteran himself, spoke to the veterans of his time. But see, he had a twisted little idea. And that little twisted idea that he had was fair game for the OSS, Office of Special Services, later to be renamed the Central Intelligence Agency. But they spoke big words, and they had big rallies, and they had all these people, and it was said those rallies were not as big as they were. But they spoke about nationalism. Spoke about people coming together as one country, as putting away all these tendencies to be negative to your enemies. If my remembrance of history and reading the history books and seeing these documentaries are accurate, I would have to say that from the time of, I would even say from the time of Slick Willie Bill Clinton, we've had these, what can I say, massive $3 college words thrown at us in such a way to where, hey, it looks good, sounds good, yes, but how's it smell? Give it that smell test. If it looks like BS and smells like BS, it is BS. Okay? These leaders talk about nationalism, but they operate under a socialistic philosophy. They talk about nationalism, but their governments were totalitarian at worst. Socialism at the least. When you talk nationalism and socialism all in one sentence or in one paragraph or in one speech, what are you saying to the rest of the people? What are you saying? I direct your attention to Free America Radio Facebook page. You go look for a video I have up there. I cannot explain it any better than what my perspective can give me and how I interpret it. But there's a video there. Wow. I've got some really strange things going on with my Facebook page. Let me do this, folks. That was weird. Free America Radio on Facebook. Go down where it says the Blaze TV video highlights, loyalty oaths. Get Glenn Beck's perspective on it. My perspective on it is this: National Socialism. What is that? What was that in our history? What was that in Italy under Mussolini and Germany under Hitler? And Russia under Khrushchev? Specifically in Germany, it was Nazi regime. The National Socialist Party was what Hitler was part of. We saw this, or we, not we, but our government saw this little World War I veteran with this little funny mustache speaking about nationalism, speaking about, bringing people together and all of this and doing what. And guess what? Our military-industrial complex got wind of it, told our regime of that time, hey, there's this little German guy over there preaching, talking to people, telling people exactly what we want here. Maybe we should change our idea and build him up. Well, we did, and we put him in power. What? You don't believe me? Well, let's go to 1971 or 72, somewhere around in there. I could be wrong on the year, maybe off a little bit. But there's this young individual that is rallying people in his party, bringing together all of these people and trying to incite nationalism with his people in the Ba'ath Party. And he was a little guy as well, with a big giant ego, named Saddam Hussein. We got wind of him too, and we set him up. Don't believe it? Go check the records. There was another person in our history in the 20th century that we set up who was a college graduate from a university out in Arizona. He graduated with a degree in political science and went back to his home country and became a leader. His name is Muammar Gaddafi. We set him up too. What happened to those people? They're dead, aren't they? Because they wouldn't play ball with the rest of the United States of America and the military-industrial complex and the people and the corporations that own Washington, D.C. Oh, let's go back in history to World War II. We had a guy that was a manager of a company that was over in Germany at the time. Of course, he was later brought back to the U.S. and put on trial, but was acquitted. Or I don't know the whole history of this person, but you know two of his kin. Yes. Germany was built up by Hitler, by nationalizing everything, by creating this huge, massive war machine. And guess who supplied all of the material for that? A little company over there managed by this fellow who had a lot of influence in business and had a lot of material shipped from the USA over to Germany. Yeah, his name is Prescott Bush. as kids, as George H.W. Bush, President of the United States, 88 to 92. And his grandson, George W., 2000 to 2008, President of the United States. So you don't want to... Your behavior is going to be one where you, as a result of a thought that you have, like this country could never, ever, ever, ever put themselves in a position to where they're working with the enemy. Excuse me, who is the enemy? The enemy is exactly those people our government had set up to rule in these other countries by way of, via the mechanism of, and the machinations of, the Bilderberg Group, formed in Bilderberg Hotel in Switzerland in 1954. So do you think this country that we call the United States of America is on the road to a complete overhaul where we the people rule? We can hope, and we can make it happen. But do you know why we are in so much debt? It's because it was designed that way. From President Woodrow Wilson's signature on the Internal Revenue Act in 1913, and also on the Federal Reserve Act in 1913. Put there by a group of people in 1910 who brought this forward and discussed an idea by a group of industrialists and other business people around the world that met on this little island called Jekyll Island. Go read the book, The Creature of Jekyll Island, and you'll get the whole history of how the Federal Reserve came about. We had roads, we had schools, we had all the, firemen and police officers and all that. Everything was great. We had the roads, we had buildings, all before 1913, right? We had all that. It was fine. We kept 100% of our earnings. And then we get screwed by a progressive by the name of Woodrow Wilson. Then we get screwed again in 1933 with the New Deal. Oh, I'm going all over the place, folks, but let me sum it up in the next 2.5 minutes here. Well, not that long. I'll sum it up in the next 30 seconds. How's that? This is your country, folks. You don't call this your country or the United States of America without understanding how it was built, how it was put together, how it was manufactured after 1871. Go look it up, the Act of 1871. Up until that point, everything was fine. We had the Constitution, we had wars, we had all that, everything. It was fine. 1849, 1861. We got through it. We were resilient. We rebuilt. We reestablished our homes, our businesses, everything. And then the Act of 1871 came around, and we were continually screwed since then. So all I'm saying is go look at history. Go research this stuff yourself. I'm encapsulating all of this and going roundabout here and there, telling you all of this, but I understand it all because I've been researching this for over 30 years. And I can guarantee you, once you figure it out, you ain't going to like it. So open your eyes. Open your eyes and get real and see what's happening around you. And then do something about what's happening in your own little town, your little city, your little county. I'm going to go try to get my voice back because it's starting to go. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Free American Radio Network on the Views Express Live. Talk to you guys later. We the people have the power, for we are America.